In writing a book or a play, I'm concerned entirely with literature, with art. I do not aim at doing good or evil.
Wickedness is a myth invented by good people to account for the curious attractiveness of others.
Oh, I rarely think anything I write is true.
If one tells the truth, one is sure sooner or later to be found out.
That is a pleasing paradox, but I do not set very high store by it as an axiom.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of post-neo-prelude. Tonight, we will be hearing from the writer Oscar Wilde, as well as listening to the music of the group Ryder, which is a group I recently heard on All Songs Considered, which is an NPR show that I highly recommend. Now, as I had said in the emailed version of the show, I was going to pose some questions concerning matters that affect contemporary writers and poets. And you can, I would hope, respond to some of these issues either via email or on my Facebook page. I'll take a look there for any responses. And we'll discuss the answers in later shows. So what I'd like to raise tonight is any thoughts about how poetics or poetry affects a writer's choice of words or style when they approach other genres of writing, such as, say, a novel or prose or general narratives, or vice versa, how these different types of writing structures affect one another when it really comes to the creative process. So, if anyone has any thoughts out there on this, I'd love to hear from you. I will have something to say about it in coming episodes, so you can look forward to that, I would hope. In reference to that, we're always going to be looking at poets, of course, but not always strictly reading their poetry. With Oscar Wilde, we'll be reading an excerpt from Phrases and Philosophies for the Use of the Young. And a little bit about Oscar Wilde, given his great insights, of course. In his life, he was an Irish playwright, a poet, an author of short stories and one novel. He lived up until the year 1900. He was known for his pointed wit and actually reached celebrity status with plays such as The Importance of Being Earnest, which is still performed up to this day. Wilde engaged in many homosexual encounters until he was finally imprisoned for gross public indecency in London. He spent the last 3 years of his life penniless in self-imposed exile in France. An excerpt from Phrases and Philosophies for the Use of the Young, which is basically a collection of aphorisms that he published towards the end of his life when he was going through many legal troubles. It comes from the QPB Book of Irish Literature. Wickedness is a myth invented by good people to account for the curious attractiveness of others. If the poor only had profiles, there would be no difficulty in solving the problem of poverty. Those who see any difference between soul and body have neither. A really well-made buttonhole is the only link between art and nature. Religions die when they are proved to be true. Science is the record of dead religions. The well-bred contradict other people, whereas the wise contradict themselves. It is only by not paying one's bills that one can hope to live in the memory of the commercial classes. No crime is vulgar, but all vulgarity is crimes. Vulgarity is the conduct of others. Only the shallow really know themselves. One should always be improbable. The only way to atone for being occasionally a little overdressed is by being always absolutely overeducated. Any preoccupation with ideas of what is right or wrong in conduct shows an arrested intellectual development. The truth ceases to be true when more than one person believes in it. Greek dress was in its essence inartistic. Nothing should reveal the body but the body. Industry is the root of all ugliness. The ages live in history through their anachronisms. It is only the gods who will taste of death. Apollo has passed away, but Hyacinth, whom men say he slew, lives on. Nero and Narcissus are always with us. Only the great masters of style ever succeed in being obscure. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. So in regard to next week's episode, we will have guest poet Justin Blackburn joining me, and he will be here to read his poetry himself and do a little creative direction, I hope, as well. So it should be an interesting one, and I really look forward to having him in. So I hope everyone will tune in for that, and I look forward to your feedback concerning the issue at the beginning of the program.
There's no such thing as morality or immorality in thought.